Okay then, hello everyone. So yeah, you can already see we have some colors already because we're going to paint this guy right here. And I can barely see what I'm doing on my own camera, so there we go. That's better. This guy right here. Along of course with the turret, although I've already painted the commander on it because showing how I paint the commander on stream would be infuriating and you'd see nothing. So we are just going to paint most of the tank. Just so you can see, this is what it looks like basically just with a base coat. Yeah, today we're just going to paint some stuff. And yeah, lots of paints. Black, blue, red, green, dark track color, bone for the top, new wood. Lots of colors that I have to put out of the way so I can actually do something here. We have metallics, rust color, medium brown, and shipping color. Lots of paint going on today. And we're actually going to start with dark tracks. Also, I finally have a red palette, so that is nice. My paints are actually going to have some long life while I work with them. Yeah, just in general, I just wanted to paint this thing on stream now as well. Because just building it is a bit stupid, isn't it? Because then you'd not see the result on screen. And actually, I forgot, we also need more stuff than just those colors. Because we also need these things. Dark earth pigment, streaking grime, and for the streaking grime, white spirit. And other things, but we're going to ignore those for now because I can not do one of those things on stream. It's the finishing touch. And we need the glossy varnish because, of course, we need to protect the paint before we put on the streaking grime, because that's an enamel paint. It would actually attack the acrylic paint. I put this guy here. Yeah, I was considering not streaming today because I'm not feeling too great, but it's better than making a stream when it's hot, because it's currently actually a bit cooler. The music on my end a bit. It's a bit too loud. Yeah, let's start with all the spare track links that I have on here. A bit on the palette. And hard to find a way to actually show painting comfortably on stream, which it took some time, let's say it like that, to find a pose in which I can actually see everything and still stream. Which currently results in you seeing everything, like before, backwards a bit. As you know, I'm sitting here. But it's the best way I can actually show this without having the camera stand right in front of me, which would mean I would have to somehow look around that, which doesn't work out. And it would also just kinda look a bit weird, because I'd be going like this, basically. Always. I probably need to get something like a laptop at some point, put up a proper painting station and stream from that at some point. Also just streaming a bit early because I just really wanted to finish this tank finally. It's been taunting me since the last stream because I finished the base coat on Monday, so I was just waiting and I couldn't stream on Wednesday because it was way too hot, so it's just kinda taunting me. Even worse is that I actually already did a Tiger, a second one, and it turned out so well that I wanted to finish this one with a different paint scheme to see what that would look like. So that was also a thing. So just pressuring myself to stream even just an hour earlier so I can actually do this today. Still needs bit. Still needs a bit and recesses. There we go. Ah, this is going to need some precision. This already spells disaster if I need precision for something. Yeah, that looks okay. I may actually need to redo some of that, as there's some very visible dots there now which I really don't want. But that's something you have to live with. Occasionally you just have to fix something. Luckily it's a part that isn't actually camouflaged, it's just like gulp there, so you just really easily fix any mistakes on that. Yeah, so now we have that. We can let that dry and then I can actually fix it with the other one. With the Dunkel Whelp. Now I can paint these, which are much easier to paint. You can actually see part of my shadow when I lean forward. Which probably means that I haven't placed the light perfectly. I don't care too much. It's a bit of shadow, who cares? Also, I really gotta say, the more I come back to like using these paints like MIG by Ammo by MIG, these paints are so superior to the stuff I used before, like the army painter stuff. I think I showed these models before, this stuff. Because this comes way too thick, and it is really bad at covering if it's thinned to a similar degree. And with these, I most of the time don't even need to make a second layer, because it's thin enough out of the bottle to cover nicely, but also be just good to use right away for one layer. Yep, that looks good already. Good point is always to see if the small details are still visible, and you can still see all the small track markings that are molded in that through the paint. Careful, need to paint under the cupula, or the hatch in this case. Hello, North. What's so holy crap about this? I mean, okay, it's a relatively small model, but it's not quite the smallest model I could build yet. Well, if you want to have scale, it's one of these on my hand. They're small, 15mm scale is actually, I would think, one of the best scales if you just want to have small tanks to paint like this. They're still really detailed, but they're just so small that you can pack like 100 of them on a shelf. This red palette is really doing wonders for the paint. Staying really consistent, which is great. Before that I had inconsistency problems with the paint. Like basically any paint, really. Oh right, there's also a guy, so imagine painting a guy completely on this scale. Usually you just leave out the eyes at this point. 28mm you still paint in the eyes, but on 15mm it's a bit of a hassle to do the eyes. Anything else that needs that track on here? I don't think so, but we still need to fix that. Take these, maybe a bit more on this side. I think a good point of the scale, which is, what's it called? 1 to 100 scale. So all of these are 100. 100 times smaller. Am I happy with my model streaming setup? It's serviceable, I think. I could do much better with a better stand that isn't in the way, because it's very clearly visible here, and all that. And the camera is okay after fiddling with the settings for what felt like ages, but it's serviceable. I think it's fine. It seems to look okay on OBS, so I don't know how it looks on the actual site, but it seems okay. I'd maybe replace this with a 1080p camera, not a 720p. But otherwise I'm happy. Oh, outside again.
Nobody take me so fast on me. Stage diving, right into light come to you. Space lover, you can steal my heart every day. When the music's around.
I also may need a better light. So basically, all of this is serviceable, just like everything in my streaming setups altogether. It's serviceable, but it's not the best. I mean, sure, I could get a DSLR or something, or a camcorder to do this with, and a proper capture card and all that. But that would cost a lot of money. And if this works for now and I can just test out the streams, I'm okay with this. We need a different color that I didn't actually bring out. Was it DG1? I need to test which of these is the one I need. I need DG1. Don't need much of it. Trust me, you could. I'm just 2 years in and I'm fairly average on this. Like, I like and I'm really proud of what I achieve painting, but I'm not on a high skill yet. I'm nowhere near close to, for example, something like Plasmo. Plasmo is just the god of model building on YouTube in my eyes. But I'm doing fine with that. Okay, so we have fixed that, and that is now done in dark tracks. Trust me, I first believed that as well, and my first models were absolute garbage, but I just kept on going, and now I do this. Or rather, now I do this. Show it at least with something that's finished. I guess I should work up from the small stuff, so now I can actually do the fire extinguisher. Luckily I still have the color out, because I did just paint the fire extinguisher on this as well. Or what I believe is a fire extinguisher. The tiny part back here. One of those things you really only paint because it's a slight detail that can give a bit more life to the tank. Oh, thank you. I mean, I still like my models. It's not like I'm not proud of every single one of them. Just that I also know that I can improve still a lot. Which is good, because it means that I have still something to work towards. This one's harder to do than the other one. I will actually have to clean up a bit on this. That's fine, it's around an area where I can still clean up a lot. That's a small fire extinguisher or something. I just need to do some cleanup. Banana camera from the AW. Oh god. I've seen some extremely bad things from that game. I'm so glad I don't play it anymore from what I've seen. I'd be raging all the time. I hate it when games like that introduce some really stupid camouflages. Okay, we have that. If we go for really small now, we can go for the main gun. There's nothing else that needs to be painted black on here, so we will do that. I can just work down on the colors this way. So we have done red, now we need black. Polished metal, there's black. Always gotta shake your paints. Good thing about these is the small metal balls inside. Make it easier to shake these up. I actually already own every single Borderlands thing, so I saw it, I just didn't need it. Well, I own everything except for Borderlands 3, because I refuse to buy that, but that's various reasons, and has actually nothing to do with the Epic Store this time. Tiny black dot on the camera, but that's the machine gun painted. Behind it as well. I really don't need anything else black. I do still need black later, but not in a painting sense. Yeah, that should be everything that should be black. Yes. Okay. Now, do I go for... No, I don't go for metallic yet. I'll go for wood next. I don't have a crate on this one like on this, but I still need to do some parts wood, because we still have tools on this thing. Do I have a nicer brush ready? No, I don't. Do I have one altogether? Oh, this one isn't good. It's always so hard to keep a small tip brush that doesn't just immediately do stupid things. Yeah, this one doesn't work. Oh, how many brushes and cans of color, like, of these? Let's see, it's 6, 12, 18, 24, 30. I have 30 there, so I have 30 there as well, so that's 60. That is 90, 100. I think that's a 60 pack of Army Painter paints, so it's 160. Plus minus a few of these as well, but I don't really count them as paints. Brushes, I don't have that many actually. My main brushes are all in here. It's by the side, because I don't use most of them right now. And how much do I stick to history? This in particular is actually inspired by a game, but it is also based on a real camouflage, so this one is kinda sticking to history. The model itself is a, I think, historically accurate late war tiger, but otherwise, usually I just do what I think is okay and looks good, so it's not like I always study camouflage books or something, but I do have them. Like this one. Can't barely see anything. This one. This camera setup is bad for showing stuff like this. This one from AK Interactive. It's actually a great book. It's a great source of just ideas. But usually it's just what I want. I pick some colors that I want to do. So for this one, that was because I had them new. I just went, you know what can I do with these colors? Reseda green, that's rot brown, and dunkelgelb. What can I do with these? This. I just do something. Which is my like approach to Warhammer as well. I just do something. That's why my Warhammer Imperial Guard is dark grey and blue. That's what fits together relatively nicely, and what can you actually paint? Blue and grey. Let's go here. We have some wood to paint, which is probably going to be the least visible thing on this entire model on the stream. It's literally just tiny parts made to look vaguely like wood now. Thank you for subscribing, North. Yeah, 7 months. There we go. 7 months, almost a year. Well, a bit more than half a year. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. But again, thank you very much. But yeah, this one is just mostly based on a camouflage scheme from Company of Heroes 2, which is the one I use when playing as the Wehrmacht in that. Which is a variation of ambush camo, I think. Although I've made it a bit lighter because I used those new colors I got. You can, I don't really think you can really see what I'm doing right now here. You're barely here. Like, you can barely see that that's a slightly different color than the other parts that I'm putting on here. like color-wise at least. I missed a bit there, but it's not too bad. It's going to be a part that is probably going to be almost invisible after I'm done with the weathering. But yeah, I usually end up buying a new pack of colors, even though I don't usually need them about every 2 months. So I just buy these. Where do I have a package of one? Here we go. I buy these packs usually because they are pretty cheap and the color selection is usually themed after something, so I can just go. I want to paint something late war German, so I just buy one of these if I don't already have the colors for late war German. And then I already have the colors on these. Just everything I need. It's very nice to just be able to say I want to paint this, and they usually have a dedicated set for those ready. Again, even if you have your so let my brain catch up. Okay, there we go. Even if you are painting something like the interior of a pretty big tank, like let's say 1:48 or even 35 scale, and let's say you are painting a Panther tank, you can actually get interior sets specifically just for the colors used inside a Panther, which blows my mind that they make something so specific, but it must sell because they always restock them. Oh, that's too much color. Too much paint. It's usually pretty easy to get started with model building, I have to say. Just buy a model of something you have some interest in and some paints, and you're basically already set. All you technically need. I mean, back when I started, I just bought a Toldi tank and a very, very basic paint set. That was it. That's how I started. I still have that Toldi somewhere, but I won't show it on screen because it's bad. It's amazingly bad. And then that was just 2 years ago. So, well, probably more like 3 years ago now, technically. But, you know, you can get pretty far, pretty quickly with this hobby. Anything else that needs to be wood? But hammer, axe, another shovel, clippers. Fine. Fine, let me just get it. Just a second. Actually sitting on my shelf still, because I don't really want to throw it away in any sense. But yeah, it is. This was 2 years ago. So like, very thick paint application. The turret is unmovable because it's just fused by the paint. The tracks are broken because I didn't know how to make metal tracks and all that. It's just how I started back then. But you know, you need this. If you didn't start with something like this or similar, then you probably never got to this point anyway, so you need to have the bad models to have the good models as well. Clip coming up of what? Of the really old model? Well, it's online now anyway, so see. Yeah, that looks nice. Oh, it was effort back then, and it's still effort to make these, but it's also a lot more fun after a certain point. Because when you get better, you really have that feeling that you slowly build up to what you have envisioned. Because I didn't envision that for the Told, let me tell you that. I envisioned something very different. It just didn't turn out that way because I didn't have the skills yet. Okay, we have the wood parts, and I want to keep metallics to about the end of the main painting phase, so we'll do the next thing that is small, that is rust streaks. Well, not rust streak, it's just old rust. And let's... do we go with that or that? We'll go with this one. This is just my... apparently just my 15mm brush now. Yeah, that's how we started basically. It's like Hot Wheels cars and all that, and then get an interest in those, and then you at some point maybe just make one of these. That's at least how it worked for me. As a kid I actually had some Revell kits back then as well, which I was really bad at because I didn't know what I was doing, and it wasn't tanks back then. Let's say that. It was mostly just stuff like cars. Does that look? Yeah, that looks okay. It will need a second coat at some point anyway. Well, you have to see it like that. Technically, I did start building models and when I was 10, but I had a almost like 10-year-old pause from that. So I restarted 2 to 3 years ago doing it really. But thank you, yeah, I think I have improved a lot, personally. One of those things that you can't usually say without sounding like a dick, like, I have improved massively. I haven't improved massively, I've just steadily improved. Mostly by vacuuming every single tutorial I could get for like properly applying paint and thinning it down and all that. Just lots of tutorials. What? What are we watting about? Also, I need something to drink. Behave, guys. Be nice to each other. I always know you're nice to each other, so don't worry. What do we need? We have done the rust. I can do the top now. Why not? For the top, I will use bone, because bone is a great color for tops, just in general. Always functions very nicely with stuff like washers. Fruiten has actually built one of the models that has gotten me back then to restart doing the hobby, which I kinda have to thank him for, because back then he built, I think we called it the Dicker Hans, which was a upgunned Hetzer tank. It's the one thing I remember from back then, from a time that I don't want to mention, that I actually remember very fondly. is the Dicker Hans. Don't you remember the small headset you built? No, relatively small, the headset you changed the parts on for a bigger gun and all that. Or maybe I'm completely misremembering now and that would be really bad. Dicker Hans. Like, I can't recall, was that you? I believe it was. I could actually check on YouTube. Because it was all with YouTube. Like back when YouTube still had an active messaging thing. The rivet counters are always going to be just really angry about something like that. It's funny. Oh, thank you for following, Amo Jibor. How are you doing today? I still think that the Dicker Hans was a really great model, and maybe I should make my own version of that someday. As a tribute. Because it was literally the model that made me go back into the hobby. Like, maybe I should build some tanks again. Or not again, in that sense. Like, maybe I should build some tanks. Because up to that point I had just made a really few bad attempts with Bevel kits. Look, it needs a bit more drop. Good to hear that you're doing pretty good, Jagoa. But we don't have any more tops on here, but actually do. We have a top back on the backpack here. There's always going to be some people pissed off with something that you do. No matter what it is, if you choose a slightly wrong color or if you make your own version of a tank, it's always going to be someone. Thankfully all the communities that I'm in currently don't do that. They are really open to basically everything that you do. Which is quite nice. It's quite good to have communities that are open to ideas. Rivet counters, man. Rivet counters. I should show them my leopard too, because I'm fairly certain I messed up everything on that thing. Like, what belongs to what version and everything. I've just built it in a way that I thought was looking nice, so it will probably annoy people that are looking for 100% realistic parts, but okay, that's that top done as well. That top still look okay. Maybe it could use a bit more. It's always the weird part of painting with these off-white colors, that you have to do at least 2 pretty good coats. Otherwise they tend to be a bit see-through. I've learned in this hobby to not judge people on what they do too much, unless it's like technique errors and not like what they do. Fuck Wallace. Fucking Wallace. E. What now? We have done bone, so go away, bone. Yeah, everyone should have the freedom to build whatever they want in whatever way they want, as long as the techniques they use are nice. That's my view of it. Like, I will tell you if I think a technique you used is bad. And to be honest, I would like people to tell me if a technique I used is bad, because I really want to improve, so it's quite important to me. Let's make those gas canisters now, those jerry cans. Can let this paint dry a bit, and then we can put on the straps for that. I would not necessarily disagree, but I think there is a lot of open-mindedness in the army category as well, because really reinvented kit bashing. Kit bashing is just basically what army guys do most of the time. I mean, I've done it. Monstrosity of kit bashing is sitting on my windowsill, but I can't get that right now. Just technically, you can just do what you want. You can put the turret of a tiger on whatever you want. Just that if you get a vivid counter, they are not going to be happy, and that is good, because vivid counters should not be happy. Vivid counters should never be happy. If you spend your entire day judging people because one of their parts isn't exactly the one for that, what they claim it is, then you should maybe think over what you're doing with that hobby. Because you're clearly not doing the hobby for the fun of it, you're doing the hobby to correct people, because you have superior history knowledge. Oh yes, the Turkian group was perfect for that. Just build what you want. Sometimes it's just nice to say, screw reality, screw history, I'm just going to build whatever the frick I want. It's perfect, because it's what you wanted. So, as long as you're happy with the model, that's that. The most important lesson you can learn in this is, if you are happy with what you've done, that's the only thing you need. Yeah, stuff like that. And I think that's fine, it's totally fine, it's just something that you thought up in some way. Field mods. When in doubt, just claim it's a field mod. I mean, that's how that, what was it, the T-34-88 started? It's just somebody made a cool picture of a T-34-85 with the 88mm gun of a Tiger and just said, field mod. And then games picked it up and thought it was real. Because that's the beauty of some of these things, we can actually make models that look so convincing that we just make people think, oh, this must have actually been a thing. And most of the time it probably wasn't a thing. It's how we invented the tank destroyer, basically. Somebody thought, you know, we have all these guns flying around and we have all these tanks we don't need, so why don't we just combine them? They can't curtain on the turrets, so why just not put the gun on the thing, on the hull, and that's how you get a tank destroyer. Oh, I've seen that, Ferdinand. It is glorious and it looks really nice. It looks totally unrealistic, so it doesn't quite fit the same category of like looks realistic enough to fool people, but it's still amazing. Anything else green? I don't think anything else should be green. Yeah, but we'll think a bit more on it. And again, I think I've already shown, at least in one Discord, the tech heresy that I have committed myself, which I haven't painted yet because I didn't get around to it. Hey. Ah, I got it out. There we go. That's my tech heresy. It's a T-34 with Lehman Rust parts all over to make a kind of just Soviet-inspired Warhammer tank. Didn't work out that much because it's way too small, but at some point it will be painted. Let's see, what else do we need here? Look, actually what it looks like now. Yeah, starting to approach this thing looking like a tank. Hey, at least like a painted tank. We still need the brown here and here. And then I think we could go to the metallics. Yeah. Oh. First we have used dark tracks. Yeah, I've used black. Although I still need that so I can keep it out. I haven't done blue yet actually, because I need blue for the side devices. We have done the rust, so the rust can go back. So we have 5 colors to go. And then glossing and all the weathering. Actually, glossing after I've done some part of the weathering, and then continued after that. Yeah, now brown first. Thank you, yeah, just origin stories. Well, it's always good to have something there that reminds you of how you started. That's why I still have all my models. Let me check. Oh yeah, that one. I love that model. It's so stupid. It makes no sense even for Warhammer, but it's amazing. It's an amazing model and it's, yeah, just perfect. SD KFC 234s. I forgot what those are. 234s. Let me check. Oh, those with the big gas gun on them. It's probably Warhammer in some capacity, or just somebody went, you know what would be fun to make a German tank with a massive bloody Gatling gun on it. And I can't fault the guy, it turned out great. Looks like it's a very well made and very well painted model, so I can't fault the guy for anything there. There we go, that's the straps on the top. They look quite nice, yeah. Gotten out pretty neat. Now we can paint the satchel, or whatever you want to call it, backpack, back here. Which would probably not usually be in brown, but I don't want to overload everything with like greens. Sonderkraftfahrzeug. I love how like World War II vehicles were named because it's just so stupid. Sonderkraftfahrzeug auf Fahrgestell 3234 mit 7,5 cm Langstreckengeschütz or some stupid shit like that sometimes. It's probably not a Langstreckengeschütz, would probably be a Panzerabwehrkanone. Some words in German are just so fun to say. It's just Panzerabwehrkanone. It's like a word you would say like that, what's it? The ground fox jumped over the something, I don't even know what it was anymore, like a word that challenges you to say every single letter in the alphabet. Nein, nein, nein. Ja, ja, ja. Yeah, that looks neat. Okay, yeah, I'll take that. So, we've done that. Now I need the blue. The brown can go back. It's an interesting thing with the blue. The blue is a really small part of the model. It's actually just these vision devices and this small thing on front here, because it's the only things that looked like they would benefit from having a bit of blue on them. And I don't even know if this is a vision device. I just assume it is, because it looks like one. So, I'm just making one. Oh, German tongue twisters. German tongue twisters. I don't have one in my head right now, but I could look for one. We call those a Zungenbrecher. Because we name stuff that is fairly innocent after the worst word we have, Zungenbrecher. Which literally means tongue breaker, by the way. Am 10.10. 10 Uhr 10 zogen 10 zahme Ziegen 10 Zentner Zucker zum Zoo. If you want to have one of those. And god, that hurt because it was only Z's. That was all words starting with the same letter. Oh, here's a good one, that is very German. Als wir noch in der Wiege lagen, gab's noch keine Liegewagen. Jetzt kann man in den Wagen liegen und sich vor allen Lagen wiegen. German is stupid and I love it. I would love to take these models to like a show or something, but I have yet to find anything even close to that in a reasonable distance. There isn't even one around Munster, which I thought would be a thing. Like, why wouldn't there be something around a tank museum? But just apparently no. That is what she said. I have an incredibly hard time with movie German, actually. Because I just don't really have the right mindset to speak like a movie German. And it's really annoying me because it would be really funny to have that ability. I'm just not there yet. I'm also really bad at Arnold Schwarzenegger impressions, but that's probably because he's actually Austrian. Like, Austrian is special. It's not much like German at all, actually, so... it's kind of hard to replicate that as a German. Where about in Germany do you live? I live not far off of Koblenz. About maybe 70 kilometers off. In... oh, what's the English word for it? It's Rhineland-Palatinate. But I live in a quite nice remote area. Not that remote that it's like incredibly bad here, but it's like relatively remote. It's nice and in nature. Which is basically a lot of Germany, which is nice. There's a lot of nature. And now we have the blue... the vision devices, I guess. It's probably in this, it's not really a vision device, it's just basically mirrors. But you know. Technicalities. Seafood, and that's weird, because people have told me that I'm exceptionally German. So it's weird, I have a very German accent, it's just that I'm not a movie German. Yeah, it's Rhineland. Rhineland is big. It's a bit of a thing where I'm like, I'm on the side of caution. It's not really because of like you guys, because if it was you guys, it'd be okay. Although it would be hard for you guys to come here, especially Figmo in a few months probably. But in general, it's more like, you know, Drachenlord is a story for another time and another day when I want to talk about the stupidest German people. But, you know, that's a story for a very different time. Now we can actually go to the metallics. Well, because you have threatened to basically kidnap me and bring me to model shows. And believe it or not, I grew up in a time when basically everyone told me to never give away my location on the internet, and I have steadfastly held to that rule. Except of course when I've been ordering things, then it's immediately like, take my address, take my money. The model shows. That's the thing with like, I'm fairly... what is it called again? I'm fairly insecure about how these would look if I put them to an actual like show with people that would actually judge them. Because currently I only show them to basically friends and communities. So having them actually judged by someone, ooh, that would be a weird experience. All this tiny stuff on these tanks, I love it. I really hated painting tiny details when I first started. And I've come to really like it, because it's one of the more relaxing parts of painting. And thank you. It's always nice to hear that somebody likes the models. I do like them a lot, myself. It's just... harsh criticism would probably be less helpful than just friendly people telling me what they think of my models. Which is, I think, the biggest thing I have with that. It's like, if I show it to a couple of friends, my friends may say, oh, it looks great, but you could maybe do that. And if I put it to a criticism, it's like, paint application shit. Well, I know that they're usually not that bad with it, but, you know, hyperbole for the sake of comedy. At least I hope they're not that bad. Oh, thank you. And it's one of those things where I'm like weirded out because people have said I crank these out like nothing else, so maybe I've just traded speed for advancing in actual quality now. Just friendly chloroforming, yes. Fully enhance my my hobby. We're there, but I can cover up that up with revering later. Always gotta judge a mistake by if it's even like feasible to fix it. Most of the time it doesn't make much of a difference. If you have like a tiny bit of metal here, probably gonna get covered up by either revering with like chipping or anything like that. But just your friendly neighborhood kidnapping. To be honest, I would have liked to actually take the Type 96 somewhere, because I was actually really proud of that. But it's one of those things where I'm also like, I'm really proud of it. So it would be a bit weird to bring it somewhere and possibly break it. Which is why I'm also not currently thinking about selling anything. Because I just imagine, oh, here's that model that I promised you and it arrives and it's broken. Which would break my heart as well, because I've... Also of the tanks I've made, like the bigger ones, that people are interested in, I've probably spent weeks on at times. One of them was literally a, like, project over months. So it's one of those things where I'm like, if I sell this and it breaks, it would break my fucking heart. I couldn't do that. Yeah, with 1 to 36, it's a bit hard to make them scenery. Those are a bit less versatile than these small things. I just noticed something else from here. Elvis continues even in death. Well, there's always a way you can use a model again. It's just, I prefer to have them either purpose made for that or to just have what I wanted in the first place. And, you know, if I ever went to getting like eBay rescues or something, I would probably do that. Make a crap ton of dioramas with broken tanks. From Rostov to Sweden for shows. Yeah, it's not as far as the Rhineland. It's not quite there. I love painting these small cables and all that. It's one of those things that's really weird, I think, is as you evolve, you really come to like painting parts that you hated at first. Just looking at these and painting these nicely is one of those things that's incredibly satisfying to do. Like, hooray, you have painted this small cable exactly as you wanted it, and you didn't spill over to the hull that much. Like, you only spilled 2 times or something, and that's really great. It's a great feeling to have, at least in my opinion. There we go, those look nice. Didn't miss anything on them, yeah. Looks nice. I'm with those. And now we have one more thing back here. I think these are like track adjustment hooks or something, I don't really know. Have anything on here that needs to be silver? Nope, not that I can see. Okay, that's the main colors attached to it, like painted on, not attached. Attached is a weird word for that. Okay, just in case you're wondering, I don't really do anything to the road wheels and all that, because I usually do the same as with this. It's actually then mudded on with a like custom mixed mud paint. So I don't really need to do any detail other than just basic color on those. There we go, here it is in its most, you know, not broken form that you'll ever see it, because now it's gonna get revered down and then it's going to get a lot of streaking grime. Okay, I need a tissue of some kind so I can dab off the excess paint. Take off the throat again. Oh wait, no, not black. What am I doing? That's for later. That's for later. Okay, glad I caught that mistake just now. Because no, we're not going to go with black. We're going to go with chipping color, because that is... Actually, this is a chipping color that was included with a German tank set, so it's perfect for it. I hugged my collection to my chest and screamed at people in the 5-meter radius. Let me guess, you played Chaos? I will probably just hiss at people very loudly. A different sponge now, this one's used. There we go. More here. Here. I can escape mental patient. It's also kind of the thing I was envisioning as well. Oh crap, that's not good. I'll have to fix that. Well, I can fix that anyway, because I still need to wash that as well, so that's not too much of a problem. Gotta protect your collection, man. And if that means you look like a total maniac, well, to be fair, you probably are a total maniac, but, you know, spending hundreds, if not thousands, on small miniature tanks and people and all that, and painting them in hour-long sessions, if we aren't in some way crazy, then I don't know what is officially crazy anymore. Gotta be crazy to think this is a normal hobby, but it's a perfectly great hobby to be completely crazy with. Not too much. It's okay. It's a bit much, but you know, it will get a bit covered up by when we do the baking rhyme anyway. That's fine. Okay, so now we got it shipped. A bit heavy, but I did this one very heavy, so I kind of want these to be roughly the same time frame. Just this one's command tank, so it needs to stick out a bit. Now I need to fix the mistake I made. This red pellet is actually doing wonders, and it's amazing. Never had a paint that stayed alive this long, basically. Usually they just die on the pellet after a couple of minutes. This one's stayed reasonably usable. So can only recommend make your own wet pellet. It's great. It's a good experience. So, no... soft tone. Actually, I do need to fix something more back here. Just noticed. Yep. I can wait a second for it to actually dry now. Because now we are applying a wash over these. Probably also over the cans, because they look a bit flat. But thankfully it's acrylic paint, which is basically just incredibly good at drying quickly. Soft tone. Oh, nope. That mixed with a color that was previously in here. That doesn't help. Soft tone, please come back. Where's soft tone? Soft tone's here. Need a different place for soft tone. Let's cut it down. That's a good enough place. Too much. Yep, that looks like it fits quite nicely. Does it look the same as this one? Not exactly, but that's not too surprising, since this one was also streaking grimed and all that. Yeah, let's actually let that dry a bit, so it looks like it's dry, basically. And then I can go on with this. Ah, damn. It's always bad when packages get delayed. Actually going to have a massive package probably arrive tomorrow, which is going to be fun. 15 vehicles, one plane. Actually my first plane I would have ever built at that point then. It's always nice to have just a day in which you just splurge on models. Actually, by the way, we can actually do the loss varnish on this. I don't have decals on this. It's 10 tanks and 5 trucks. Yeah, I don't have decals for this. I will have to acquire decals, probably from one of the packs that arrives tomorrow. But I can always retroactively put them on. Because fun fact, I didn't own any other German pack for this scale, so I don't have any decals, and I bought these as single reinforcements. So they didn't have any decals with them. But don't be surprised, this looks weird and milky and all that when it goes on, but it will go see-through. And we do need it, otherwise I would ruin the paint job as soon as streaking grime touches this thing. What is a private warehouse function? I haven't even heard of that for like anything. Private warehouse function? Do they just keep stuff for you? It doesn't fall in any kind. Luckily. It's so awkward to hold these tanks, especially the turrets. I luckily don't need to. Actually, I should probably give the guy the code as well, because he may get in, you know, problems otherwise if I accidentally hit him with something. Everything. Good code. Did I already put it away? I need way more than I already have on here. They keep stuff for you if you ordered stuff that's out of stock and you want to save on shipping and have it on one. Oh, okay, that's nice. It's usually not an option at the stores I buy at. They just kind of send you whatever's there. To their credit, you usually also only pay one-time shipping, so it's pretty nice. Much easier to hold because I can just hold this one by the tracks. Ah, that sucks when that happens. That is really shit. I hope you had the stuff bookmarked that you wanted, so that you can actually get it later. One to 24 and 1 to 12 scale. Jeez. I am glad I don't build that big. That would annoy many people in this house. It would really annoy people in this house if I ordered tanks that big and built them. It would annoy myself because I have to find a place to put those things. Looking for any spots that seem like they are still matte, but it seems like I hit basically everything. There, back here still. Isn't there a back piece just in case? But otherwise, it looks like I fairly decently hit everything. So now we wait a long time. Because this needs to dry really well. Because otherwise I still run the risk of actually ruining stuff by applying all that enamel. We do need streaking grime now, but in a bit. We'll relax a bit now. Time to lean back a bit. Maybe drink some. Oh, that's a wrong cup. That's my actual cup. The good thing about this gloss varnish is that this is a stage I can apply with a brush still, so I can actually do almost everything until the very end of the build on stream, and the only thing I will need to do off stream is actually brushing on the ultra matte varnish, which means you technically don't get to see the finished tank, but you get basically 99% finished tank on the stream, hopefully, if I don't like drop dead or something. Which I shouldn't. Yeah, it's varnish. Gloss varnish looks like that. To be fair, matte varnish looks even worse because it's actually thick and that consists like that color and all. It's even worse when you look at it just thinned. So bad. Actually, I should probably get out the brushes I need for that, because that's these two. Actually, 3 of them. One of them I just foolishly put somewhere and I forgot where. It's actually the same I just used to apply the varnish. It's basically, this is just a burner brush now. It broke at some point, like it just split open and the front part is pretty bad, so I just use it for varnish and for getting out the streaking grime. Here's another thing we will need. Oh, come on, steering stick. Okay, thank you for watching, Jabor, and thank you again for following. I seem to have problems with my steering stick. I may need a different one. That's steering stuff for my texture paint. Steering stick required. These are just the best packs to ever buy for just everything. Steering sticks, if you want to have wood. If you want to have wood. Yes, maybe I should actually finish a sentence for once. If you want to have like wood for a tank or something, you just buy one of these for like, what, 50 cents I paid for this or something. For 50 of them. But yeah, this is actually kind of interesting because this is a mix I usually do. It's for European vehicles, Dark Earth, and PVA glue. Yes, I bought Citadel PVA glue because I like spending money apparently. It's one of those things where I'm like, okay, I don't know if every PVA glue is the same, and people have said this works for it, so why don't I just buy what's safe as an option before I put some weird glue on my model that, I don't know, strips paint. Just noticed we don't need my wet palette anymore, so I can close that down. Where did I put the... Oh, then it's back here. By the way, best like money saver I've ever done, make my own wet palette. Because these are so cheap to make yourself. And it's just like, if you buy one you spend like 20 euros, and if you just buy a generic fresh box and all that, and just put, what is it? It's 2 layers of folded up kitchen paper and 1 very thin layer of baking paper, and you just fill water in it a bit, and that's a wet palette, and it costs like, what, 50 cents to make, because you get a 5-pack of these for like 2 euros. It's insane how much cheaper you can make these wet pallets than they sell at. Also fun when you have them around, because if you just move them a lot like this, the paint inside will just move around like stupid, which is great. Where do I put it right now? Because I usually change how everything looks when I'm streaming, so I kind of need to find a place where I can put it without disturbing everything. And yeah, better safe than sorry. Which is why I don't buy certain glues anymore, because this glue sucks. I have to say it again, this glue is bad, and it should feel bad. I actually used a very old point I had here. It's like this Mr. Hobby cement. It's not the greatest cement ever because it's incredibly thick for no reason, but it was still better than that stupid army painter crap. It also glued better with less weird like stuff left behind. Oh, literally waiting for a type of paint to dry now. But I have to say, so far I'm quite happy with this. The paint, like the color itself, is going to tone down quite a bit after the streaking, because these two colors were the same. And you can see that the streaking and the matte varnish tones it down quite a bit. So we don't have to worry about it like being this bright after I'm done. Hopefully, at least. You can really see it's really shiny. Shiny gloss varnish. Oh, also I have to mention that I don't actually wash my, like, wash in the sense of like a paint wash my tanks overall, because I really don't like the practice. It makes most tanks just look incredibly dirty and weird. And I think dirt is better served by just making mud or dust and not like making everything really dark in recesses. Because that's not how usual like tanks usually tend to be. They don't tend to be really dark in the recesses. Trying to remove the stirring stick without spilling like old pigment and all that everywhere. It's just removing the entire old stuff I put in here, but that's fine. As long as I have more space to actually make my mixture, it's all fine. Ah, there we go, that's more stuff, more place. What's the turret like? I check for everything to have. Yeah, it looks okay. I think we can start on the turret now. So we of course need white spirit. We need our tissue again because we need to remove a lot of white spirit from the brush. And we do need the left part of this because I really like putting the streaking grime on a different surface first. So I can just kind of dab it off. So, welcome to streaking grime. This stuff in here is really nice for just making grime on your tanks. And a lot of it as well. But you have to be careful, you have to use this with basically trash brushes if you don't usually use enamel products. Because they only really badly like clean up if you don't have the thinness for it and all that. And now this is going to look really bad at the first point because you're just kind of slapping on streaking grime. Grime, 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 and grime here, and grime here, maybe some grime up here as well. Grime on this thing as well. Sure, why not? And grime on this guy, just around here, good, and grime here. Because we're going to brush a lot of this away and like feather it out, so our first application can be pretty rough. It's one of my weird things with tanks. It's like sometimes I see them and I think, okay, that is okay for what they wanted to do, and sometimes it's just over-weathered to hell. Like, why does your tank need to look like it has been in a walk for years? Did the crew just completely stop caring? Like, that's always a bit weird to me. It's like most crews have some sort of pride in their tank. In a weird sense, so they usually wouldn't let them get completely screwed unless they are in battle. And I like to predict mine as like in battle, so they get grimy and all that, and they have mud on them, but they don't usually rust that much and all that. Like, does your Tiger really need to look like it's been basically sitting in a bog for years and has done nothing but rust and just been completely neglected, even though there's very obviously a commander sitting out of it and all that? Like, it's a bit weird. And to be fair, for some people, I probably overweather, so one of those things where it's basically perspective. Yes, let it dry a bit, like 5 minutes or something. This still needs some time. Actually, I'm not going to do recesses on those parts anyway, so, or like the streaking grime stuff on that, so I may as well start here as well. I think the parts of tanks that mostly got rusty really were like the open exhaust systems and all that. Not much else really got all that rusty on the tank unless it sat around for like ages in the bog. So it's just like, why are you making your actual World War II vehicle rusty like it was sitting in an actual bog until today? Like that makes it weird. This is going to look so bad on stream with how I'm doing this right now, but I promise it's not going to look as bad when it's done. This is basically what I've done for the other one as well. It's a fairly heavy weathering. It's weathering of the cables as well. It's a detail, but it's not the correct detail. That's the problem, isn't it? Like, sure, they're adding a detail. It's just that it's a detail that is fit for what we see today of these tanks when we fish them out or something. That's not how they were weathered back then. Okay. A bit more here, maybe. There we go. Looks a bit like it's just spotted now. Okay. So. A lot of that is going to get brushed away, basically. nice part about using something like streaking UI is that essentially it's also a somewhat neat wash as well, because you just kinda spread a lot of dirt across the model as well. It's like it's washed in dirt, which is nice. It means it tones the colors down automatically, which means you don't have to mess around with like having an extra wash that could go bad. Just streaking, lots of it. That is nicely toned down. It's not all that visible on stream because it's so shiny, but it has nicely toned down the colors. It is really much better looking now. And all it took was just doing a bit of work with, you know, streaking grime. You can kind of see it side to side here. The green is more muted and it's actually going nicer into the Dunkelgelb and all that. It's so nice to do. Just go on there and do a few swipes. Some on, but not a lot. It's great because it makes your model immediately look a bit more realistic without doing stupid stuff, basically. Yep, it's starting to look exactly like I wanted to look. Like nicely toned down, but dirty as well. Not just washed, but actually dirty. It's nicely toned down. It's much more in the sense of like a brown. It has taken on a more brown hue overall, which is exactly what I'm aiming for with this. As now it looks nicely used. Clean up a few spots where it may have settled a bit, but doesn't seem to be too many of those. And yeah. It's much darker now, and it looks much more in line with its brother. Nicely dirtied up and used. So now it only needs the mud on the sides, which I can do now, because it's a step that is basically entirely unrelated to everything else I'm doing here. Some space. Hate that about this paint. Oh, we don't need this anymore. Oh, where's the... There it is. My brush for this. We also don't need this anymore. What we need now is a stirring stick. My pigment. Ooh, that's a bit much, but I'll work with it. Now we just mix ourselves a texture paint. It's a bit too thick at the moment, I feel. Actually, this could work. As long as it's brushable, it's actually fine. Just gotta apply it in this weird stippling motion so that it looks a bit more like dirt, because it needs to keep a shape basically. I don't want it to be flat, because then I could just paint these basically brown. That's not what I want. I want this to have a texture that reminds of dirt. Also while you apply it to areas that could potentially have dirt buildup. Nice dirt application. Also great to hide that the track didn't fully combine on the other side here, so it's nice to hide some mistakes while assembling models as well. You could even make this better if you included stuff like grass and everything into it, like that it has actually driven through a lot of grass, but I think that makes it look too busy for the scale. It's 15mm, it doesn't need to be that detailed. As long as it's well detailed, it's fine. It doesn't need to be perfect. Oh, sorry, I'm not really showing this, am I? I just noticed, sorry. I'm just kinda looking into it a lot to see where I need to still apply some mud. There we go, it's all mudded up, and that will now dry as well. And after it has dried, I am going to dry brush that with brown, and then with, I think it's half brown and I use half dunkelgelb, which gives it a nicer 3D looking like appeal to it. Basically it highlights the fact that it's actually a bit textured. Start putting away some things. Still need a dry brush. I'll go for one of my bigger dry brushes, I think. Put away the smaller ones. Like that one. This one has served me well today. You go away. Alright, we still need black after that as well. I can actually do what I wanted with the black right now. Nice effect to make it look like this gun has been fired a lot but hasn't been cleaned since then. So nice set around the barrel. And now this is a bit trickier to do, but bit of a sooted up look to the exhausts. But those look used as well. There we go. It's not all that visible on the exhaust, but it's more visible on this. And now we just need to wait again. Model building. It's such a nice hobby. You get so many downtimes that you don't want to have, but you do have. So it's just waiting. Just waiting. Actually, I can keep this out already, and I need a new tissue to put a bit of color on. Where's it? I need... yeah, actually, where's brown? I just had brown in my hand, so brown. And I think I used DG1 as well for that, so the last 2 colors we need. 2 hours and 3 minutes. Let's say 2 hours because I've started at like 4 minutes after I officially started the stream. Yeah, now we just need to wait. Thankfully PVA glue is relatively quickly drying, so it's not going to take too long, around as long as the first wash, I would assume. Really looking forward to what this looks like after it's been matte finished, because the matte finish actually changed the look of a tank quite a bit as well. It made this look really nice. Before, actually, I wasn't all that happy with it because it looked really bright, and the matte varnish just really tones it down. It just makes everything a bit more on the, you know, low side of the tones and all that. It's really nice. Just going to turn out very nice, I think. I'm pretty happy with it already. It's going to be a nice addition to be a command tank. I just need to add a number to it at the rear of the basket at some point, like the rear here, and then it'll be fine. Because I don't think I have any space for like a Balkenkreuz anywhere. It still needs to dry. Actually, I'll wash my hands, because after working with enamels and all that, they turn a bit sticky. Oh, let me just go for an intermission, and I'll be right back. No, we're not going to a model show yet. And here I am again. Let me check with like feeling it. Still needs a bit. Yeah, It's not quite there yet. But the turret is finished, which is nice. It's always nice to finish at least one part. And our guy has survived that just fine. Actually, let me do it in such a way that you can maybe actually see this guy. Let me see, I always have to look at like video options for that. Focus. There it is. Hey, there he is. Look at him, he's a grumpy little German. A grumpy little German. He's very grumpy, probably because he's watching some Italian divisions and they are just doing stupid shit in the small automated tanks. He is a grumpy tank commander. They actually look fairly good next to each other, even though this one is technically much brighter in that sense. I quite like that. I would, if anything, like to make my entire army before I actually like bring them to a model show. Because I'm actually aiming at making an entire German army now. Warum an entire? Because I just kind of do some noises when I stretch. This key needed way more flavor. Just tastes like nothing. Ugh. Oh well. Beggars can't be choosers right now. That's the only drink I have. Yeah, Brumbeer, Grumpy Bear. A bit grumpy. Well, it's not technically a grumpy bear, because that's not a translation. This... What's a Brumbeer? I think it's literally just a name for one kind of bear as well, but yeah, I am being too literal. Yes, it's one of the ways we describe people that are just really grumpy. Though I wouldn't call him grumpy, maybe he's just really pissed. He's just really pissed off at these Italian guys. Mostly because he's late war. Those Italians are probably allies at this point. I think I can slowly start. It's more of a dry brush anyway, so it's not going to be incredibly hard on the paint. I spilled that much paint on myself. How did I manage that? I just washed my hands as well. Oh no. According to Wikipedia, Brumbeer means grouch. But what's a grouch? Like, is that a kind of person, like a really annoyed person or something? Because I don't know what grouch means. Ja, der Stupa, der Sturmpanzer. Sturmpanzer. I think we're done with this actually. I think we may be done now, because this is the last thing I needed to do, is to dry brush dirt after it's somewhat dry. Still a bit wet, but that's okay. Yeah, that should be it. It was not a long last step, so it wasn't really worth the raid, I guess. But to me it's an important last step, because it makes the mud look just a tiniest bit better. And these are basically tiny models, so you know. It looks a bit more realistic on the new one as well, because it's not quite as flat. This one has a bit more of a variety in the texture. Probably because I applied it a bit more roughly. And yeah, that is the 99% finished. And let me actually make it again so that you can actually see the damn thing. Do we put it? Yeah, let's put it there. So, focus please. Focus control please. There we are, focus control. Yeah, here is the small guy, currently still very shiny. But that will change probably tomorrow pretty early. Oh, what gets it out? I ordered... What was it? It's 5 early war Panzer IIIs, 5 late war Panzer IIIs, 5 miscellaneous German medium trucks, and a Bf 109 in the fitting scale for the game these are from. So I have 15 vehicles and 1 plane. And other than that, what did I order? I ordered I think a panel liner, although I'm not going to... a paint liner actually, not a panel liner. Although I'm not going to have much use for it. And a new pinrise, because I don't have many pieces of my current one. Yeah, here we are. New Tiger with his, you know, privately made counterpart. This one I just made when I wanted to. That's both. I think personally quite nice. This of course does need the matte paint, because otherwise it looks a bit naff. Actually, I forgot one thing that I always do with these, and it adds to the look. It's a tiny thing, and it's really insignificant, really, usually at least. Oh god, yeah. Okay, this is what happens in a wet palette when you have everything on there. Need a bit of dark tone ink. Now we make the exhaust, like not this. These are not exhausts, but like vents basically. Make those dark so they stick out a bit more. A bit more variance to the model. But yeah, what was it? All the Panzer IIIs are made by Battlefront, which is the company that makes Flames of War, the game I technically do paint these for. And the miscellaneous medium trucks are made by the Plastic Soldier company. And there we go. After that's dry, that is essentially all I usually do on one of these online build night. Oh god, I will have so much just raw build time just ahead of me. Oh, and I have to make all of those relatively unique as well. So that's going to be a challenge. Making 10 tanks and 5 trucks relatively unique to each other, so I actually have a force that doesn't just look like the same thing 5 times. Oof. Well, it's going to be a challenge, and the challenge is what I need occasionally, so why not? It's nice to have a challenge. Gotta lean back a bit. I'm glad this is done. It's finally off my chest. I wanted to do this tank for the last 2 days. So badly, but finally. Now it just needs the last step. Yeah, well, just looking over it, it looks really nice to me. I didn't miss any very obvious... No, I didn't actually miss anything, it looks like, when I did the streaking. So everything is streaked, which is always a thing I forgot. I know that on this one I forgot to do a streak back here, which annoyed me to no end at first. Actually, this is maybe even more streaked than this one, because this one's still relatively dunkelgelb, but the dunkelgelb on this has almost turned into a very light brown. And I'm getting tired, but not tired enough to go to bed. I'll probably stop the stream, though, because I'm finished. I have finished what I wanted to do. Oh, let me see if I can deposit you guys to anyone who might be interesting to watch. Let's see. We have Snap and Rip are always nice, so I think I will go with Snap and Rip. Yeah, let me just put off the music. 2 hours 20 minutes of music. Very nice. But again, thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time. I hope you had a great time. I surely did. There's more to come. I'm not going to stop doing these again. I'm really glad that I started them again, because these are the most fun I've had streaming in quite some time. But yeah, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Have a great day. Have a great night. And goodbye.